Our topics today is states of matter. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define states of matter, explain states of water, illustrate arrangement of particles in solids, liquids, and gas, discuss freezing and melting, explain evaporation, illustrate condensation. States of matter. States of matter, solid states like butter, ice, liquid state like cooking oil and water, gas states like water vapor, plasma like new lights. So states of matter, solid state, liquid state, gas state, and plasma. There are four states of matter: solid state, liquid state, gas state, and plasma. Water has three forms: ice. Water is a solid when it is frozen. It is solid. Water. Water is a liquid in an ocean. This is liquid. Gas. Water is a gas in the air. So we have three states or three forms of water: solid, liquid, and gas. Solid as an ice, liquid as water, and gas in the air. The phase of water or any material are due to the motion and arrangement of its particles. The particles are always moving. We have three states: solid, liquid, and gas, ice, water, vapor, and it is particles. We have no space, here small space, and here many distance between particles. Here solid states, arrangement of the particles, here liquid states, and this is gaseous states. So the phase of water or any material are due to the motion and arrangement. This is the arrangement of its particles, and the particles are always moving. Solids. Solids shape. Solids, a substance that has definite shape and definite volume, like this shapes. The particles are very close together. This is a solid. This is the particles are very close together. This is the arrangement of the particles. The particles don't slide easily past each other. Here there is no distance between particles, so the particles don't slide easily past each other. No space to slide easily past each other. The particles vibrate in place because there is no distance, so the particles vibrate in place. There is no distance, so vibrate in place. Liquids like oil, water. A substance has no definite shape. Take the shape of the container and definite volume. No definite shape like water, oil. No definite shape. Take the shape of the container. Liquids takes the shape of the container. Here liquids in many containers. Liquids take the shape of the container. Here also definite volume. So this volume is constant. When pour it in many shapes, it takes the shape of the container, but the volume is constant. So liquids, no definite shape, take the shape of the container and definite volume. Particles. Particles can move by gliding past each other. Here, the particles of the liquids, there is a distance between them and they can gliding past each other. Force. Hold liquid particles together. There is a force between the particles that hold liquid particles together, and the distance between them is small. This is the particles of liquids. Gases. A substance has no definite shape. Take the shape of the container, like this balloon. Take the shape of the container. No definite volume. Fill all the space. Gas can be squeezed into a smaller volume, like this balloon. Particles far apart compared to the particles of solids and liquids. This particles has more distance. Particles spread out in empty container. Spread out in empty container. This is the particles of gas. Here also particles of gas. There is more distance between the particles and particles spread out in empty container. Plasma. Atoms break down into parts that have electric charges at very high temperature. Plasma conducts electricity. Metal. No shape like gas and no volume as gas. Example for plasma: sun and moonlight. This is the sun and moonlight. Freezing. What is the meaning of freezing? It is the process at which the material changes from liquid state to solid state. The process at which the material changes from liquid state to solid state. Melting. It is the process at which the material changes from solid state to liquid state. Freezing point. It is the temperature at which the material changes from the liquid state to the solid state. It is the temperature. Melting point. It is the temperature at which the material changes from the solid state to the liquid state. Freezing point and melting point at 0 degrees centigrade. The melting point and the freezing point are the same temperature, 0 degrees centigrade. Each material has its own melting point. Therefore, the melting point can be used to help identify a material. This lead fishing sinker is solid metal. The melting point of lead is 327 degrees centigrade. Evaporation. It is the process at which the material changes from the liquid state to gas state. And these particles, there is a distance, small distance between particles, but when it changes to gas state, there is a large distance between particles. Boiling point. Here, the thermometer at 100 degrees centigrade, this is the boiling point, and this is the melting point or freezing point. Here, evaporation, when heating to water, the water particles will evaporate and reach to boiling. Boiling point, the temperature at which the material changes from the liquid state to the gas state. So, the process is evaporation and the temperature is boiling point. Changes of state. We have ice, water, and steam. Ice as a solid, water as a liquid, and steam as a gas. When we make melting by heating, this is by heating. When made at room temperature or by heating, ice will be melted to water, and the process is called melting, but the temperature is called melting point. When water turns to steam by heating, it will be evaporate and form steam. The process turning the liquid to gas is called evaporation. The process is called evaporation, but the temperature is called boiling point. And boiling point at 100 degrees centigrade, but melting point at 0 degrees centigrade. When we make cooling from gas to liquid, it is called condensation. The process is called condensation. To turn gas to liquid, the process is called condensation. When the liquid turns to solid, the process is called freezing, and this is by cooling. This by heating, and this is the opposite by cooling. So we can turn solid to liquid to gas state, changes of state, and we can turn gas to liquid to solid when turn ice to water by melting, and by heating it is called melting. The process is called melting, and the temperature is called melting point or freezing point. When water turns to gas, the process is called evaporation and the temperature is called boiling point. By cooling, gas turns to liquid and liquid turns to solid, And the process from gas to liquid to turn gas to liquid is called condensation, and the process to turn liquid to solid is called freezing. And this is direction cooling. This direction is heating. So melting, evaporation, and here condensation, freezing. Melting point prediction. This is solid state and this is liquid state by temperature. Here solid state and then liquid state, gaseous state. Solid state increase the temperature and decrease pressure will form a liquid state, and the particles will be far away from each other, and then by increasing the temperature and decrease pressure, the particles distance will be more and more to form gaseous state. By decreasing temperature, here when decrease temperature from gaseous states, decreased temperature means cooling, it will form liquid state, and then decreased temperature, it will form a solid state. So these particles of a solid, these particles of liquid, and these particles of gas. Here the distance between particles is small and then will be large and will be more and more. So the particles in gas, free movement, but here movement is slow than gas, and here vibrate in place. This is in solid state. So we can convert or turn solid to liquid to gas by increasing the temperature, by heating. And we can convert or turn gas to liquid to solid by decreased temperature or by cooling. The temperature here, 0 degrees centigrade. The thermometer reads 0 degrees centigrade. This is the melting point or freezing point. The thermometer at 100 degrees centigrade. This is a boiling point. Molecules of water evaporate from the clothes as they dry. Here clothes. The molecules of water are far apart. Here, the molecule of water far apart because molecule of water evaporates. Condensation, the process at which the material change from gas state to liquid state. This process occurs when gas particles touch a cold surface and the temperature of the gas drops. This is the process of condensation at which the material changes from the gas state to a liquid state. Clouds in the sky and dew on the ground. What is the meaning of dew? Air temperature decreases, the molecules of water vapor come together and condense, forming the liquid water droplet. Water droplet here, air temperature decreases and the molecules of water vapor come together and condense, forming the liquid water droplet. Like this. This is the process of condensation, the process at which the material changes from gas state to liquid state.